The purpose behind today's story is twofold. One, I want you always to be mindful that healthcare is never a linear journey. We don't continue to improve every time we do something, whether it's balance, healthcare, anything else. It's usually two steps forward, one step back. If it is linear for you, then you're a very fortunate individual, but be mindful of the fact that you're not going to improve every time you do something. That's one. The other thing is always be mindful of where you came from. Don't forget where you started. It's very easy to get wrapped up in the here and now and not be aware or cognizant of where you were when you first began. The story I'm going to tell you is about a client of mine who I came across her about 3 months ago. So she was diagnosed with polyneuropathy about 4 years ago. And since then, her balance has been steadily decreasing to the point of that she's walking around with walking sticks or trekking poles in order to keep from falling. This lady's in her mid-40s and basically had given up on the idea of being able to walk, move the way she used to be able to move, and that this was going to be a steady decline until the end. So we started off with very basic seated balance exercises. Slowly but surely, we progressed her to being able to do those balance exercises in standing. Last thing she did was be able to stand on a single limb for about 28 seconds, which is absolutely unbelievably phenomenal. She's been walking more and more. Everything's been great. But I want to go back a couple of weeks. So 2 weeks ago, during one of our weekly meetings, she opens up by saying, "I'm feeling a little disappointed. I just wanted to tell you that." And I said, "Disappointed about what?" And she said, "Well, my balance isn't getting better each time I do it. So last week I was able to stand on one leg for 15 seconds. And this morning I was only able to do it for 4 seconds. And I said, well, first of all, it's never linear. You're going to be improving. But while you're improving, you're going to have some setbacks. It's a very typical thing. It's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And then the other thing, which is very important, you got to remember where you were. When I first met her, she couldn't stand for 1 second on each leg. Every time she'd lift up one leg, she would literally fall. She couldn't walk alongside her husband without holding him by the arm because she was afraid to fall. And when she did walk alongside him, she couldn't do it more than a few minutes because she'd get so tired. And she goes, "Yeah, well, no, I guess. No, I understand that." I said, "You need to do more than understand it. You need to remember it. And if you need to do a journal, put together a journal in order to remember where you've been and where you are, then do that, because it's very easy to lose track, right? We tend to live in the here and now. This is my problem today, or this is what I think my problem is today." So we started doing our exercises, and as we're doing our exercises, you can't help but notice how much stronger she's become. Before, she'd take a break every 3-4 minutes. You'd need a little rest break and then resume. She didn't take any rest break. She's able to do things she couldn't even comprehend that she'd be able to do. So at the end of our exercises, you know what, let's just test your single limb balance. Now, mind you, this is at the end of all these exercises that she's been doing, and she's already fatigued. And she was able to get 21 seconds on one leg and like 20 seconds on the other. And I said, "So this is disappointing to you?" And she goes, "Well, no, I guess, I am walking better and I'm doing this better. And I went to the mall the other day by myself and I didn't use my walking sticks." And I said, "You're doing significantly better." I said, "But you need to be mindful of that. Not necessarily for me, but for you. It's very important for you to acknowledge what you've been able to accomplish." So last time we got together was about a week ago, and her single limb stance went to a record high of 28 seconds per leg, which was unbelievably good. And then she says, "I'm going to get on an airplane and fly to Montreal to meet with my family for the first time in about 5 years." So since her diagnosis of polyneuropathy, she'd never felt comfortable on an airplane by herself. That was the first time in the last 4 years that she made it to the airport, got on an airplane, got off the airplane, got her luggage without having somebody there to help her. So that was a huge thing. She actually called me from her destination. She says, "You won't believe it. I was able to do this. This was unbelievable." So the first thing I had to say, I couldn't let it go, is, "So are you still disappointed?" And she said, "Disappointed in what?" And I said, "Exactly." So whatever you do, don't ever forget that healthcare journey is never a linear one. It is going to have its ups and downs. Hopefully for you, it'll have more ups than downs, but expect it. Do not expect it to get better and better each day. That's one. And two, don't forget where you came from. So when you start off not being able to walk, not being able to stand, not being able to do anything, and then all of a sudden you're able to do it, be mindful of that. Be grateful for that. It's a gift, and it's a gift that you gave yourself by putting in the work and the effort like this patient did. Till next time, take care. If you like this story, please don't forget to comment below.